Hello fellow sim racers. Today I'm catching up with stuff I should have featured back in May and taking a look at the rather fun Skip Barber Assetto Corsa mod by Daniel Jimenez. I've modified the format of this review a little bit, so if some of my regular viewers could give some feedback as to whether they like the new longer format or not in the comments, that would be fantastic. Anyway, on to the skippies. John Skip Barber is a name that's synonymous with driver coaching. Starting in the mid-70s after retirement from professional racing, Skip took it upon himself to establish the eponymous racing school and later national championship. While the man himself has moved on to other ventures, the racing school is still going strong and boasts an impressive list of alumni, including the likes of Juan Pablo Montoya, Joseph Newgarden and Ryan Hunter-Reay. Many sim racers are most familiar with the Skip Barber name thanks to iRacing, in which the Skip Barber F2000 car is an enduringly popular staple of the title. And it's that same car that we're looking at today with this mod for Assetto Corsa by Daniel Jimenez. Like many small open wheel cars, the Skippy features a space frame chassis and fiberglass body, with a small Chrysler engine producing a modest 150 brake horsepower. This is a car that's very much in the Formula Ford mould. While the power's limited, so is the grip from the road spec tyres, which definitely keeps things interesting, as does the less than 600 kilogram curb weight. And all of that comes together to form a small, cost-effective formula car that's pretty fun to drive on the edge. In the real world, this is a car that's supposed to help guide the student to an understanding of important car control concepts like weight transfer and feeling the grip limit. And that ethos is captured very well in the Assetto Corsa version. The car communicates its interaction with the track with decent force feedback and what is, for me at least, very believable behaviour on the edge of grip. And for me, that's this car's biggest asset. The street tyres provide a forgiving but compelling driving experience thanks to the greater slip angle afforded over slicks, and this is one area in which Assetto Corsa excels in my opinion. But more on that later. Intuitively, this is a car that demands to be driven sensibly, and careful attention to weight transfer management in particular pays dividends. Early and mid-corner understeer need to be tamed with careful control inputs, and jumping back on the power needs to be more progressive than the 150 horses would lead you to believe. It's definitely a car that teaches you good manners. That's all very well and good, but the Skippy's real party trick is just how great this car is in a racing environment. That's what made it so immensely popular in iRacing, and for me at least that transfers over to the Assetto Corsa version as well. So I thought, what better way to demonstrate the Skippy than to show it in an actual race? For me, this is a car that is all about the fun side of driving rather than the technical stuff, so what better way to demonstrate that than to have a quick race against the AI at Brands Hatch. Just going to do 5 laps around the Indy circuit, nice and quick, just to show you it dicing against the AI. This is a car that you really have to sort of slip the clutch pulling away, which is very counterintuitive for sort of race cars, and AI doing its usual great job of being slow as anything down on the run into turn 1. Don't want to get involved with these two going into Paddock Hill Bend. 3 wide is a bad idea there. Although I give up on the idea of safety precautions straight away. Very easy to get wheels locked up in these things. That's why I'm running Assetto Corsa. In fact, I don't normally run too many apps. In fact, I normally run no apps at all when I'm driving because I prefer the sort of immersive experience that you get when you've not got the overlays. But I thought it'd be interesting to show you the control input overlays that, for this car in particular, because well, the whole point of the Skippy is to teach weight transfer management and all of those important driving skills, and it is a car that requires a lot of careful balancing, particularly on the brake. You'll see as you can brake quite hard to start with, but then have to bleed off, trail braking into the corners to counter the understeer on the way in, and then be gentle on the throttle on the way out, or well, it starts to oversteer. It's may only have 150 horsepower, but it also only has road tyres, so there's only so much the rubber can do. Shouldn't be changing down to first there. Should be paying far more attention to driving than to talking, but you know, that's the, sort of the nature of this this whole shtick. So yeah, the car only has, it is 150 horsepower, I think, but at the same time it only weighs 570 kilos, which is about the same as a box of cornflakes. So it does corner really, really well, even with those street tyres on it. I haven't done a lot of setup work yet. To be honest, I don't think it needs it. This isn't like other single-seaters in Assetto Corsa where there are lots of parameters you can change. You know, there's only half a dozen things you can tweak really beyond the usual sort of tyre pressures and fuel loads. So I think, you know, a good teaching tool for the basics of setup work. I'll try and focus on moving forward a little bit as the AI gets very tangled up into Graham Hill Bend. Cars everywhere, just give him a little bit of a punt, won't worry about that. AI isn't sophisticated enough to bear grudges yet. See what we can do round the outside into clearways. It's absolutely nothing is the answer. You'll see how much I'm having to balance the car on both the throttle and the steering to keep it in a straight line. It's corners like that that really feel fantastic in this car. Man, we're already on lap 4. This is going by so quickly. Gonna have to seed the inside line here. AI likes to run very wide, very... Oh! AI likes to do all sorts of things. I wasn't expecting him to come back across at all. Where was I? Yeah, so I guess the big thing that a lot of people are going to ask that haven't driven this car yet is, you know, how does it stack up against the iRacing version? And I think you could surmise the differences in the way you can surmise the differences in the tyre model between Assetto Corsa and iRacing. That is to say, the iRacing one is just a bit more on edge, a bit more twitchy. There's a bit more forgiveness in the tyre model in Assetto Corsa, and that really comes across in the Skip Barber. You know, everything happens just that little bit slower, which I think, you know, is a more pleasant driving experience for me. Whether that's accurate or not is up to you to decide. But this is a really, really, really rewarding car to drive. Once you start to understand the signals it's sending you. So try and just skip the apex there to avoid being clipped by the AI. I run the aggressiveness of the AI. I use the content manager slider to vary the aggressiveness from between about 15% and about 80%. And that does mean that you never know if the AI is going to be super passive or it's going to work really, really hard. So we've got a couple of cars peeling off into the pits there, so they've obviously not fueled correctly, so I don't know if that's an issue with the mod. So there you have it. 5 laps at Brands Hatch Indy goes by in a flash. But while this was a lot of fun, the real fun to be had with the Skippy is online, which I guess brings us back to that whole it's super popular in iRacing argument. Anyhow, Daniel has done a great job with the Skip Barber F2000 car, and while this is only his first mod, it provides an impressive racing experience. I know I'm a little bit late to the party with this one, but I felt that this was a mod that was too much fun and it deserved a video. If you're not already on the Skippy bandwagon and you want to download the Assetto Corsa mod, then I've put a link to the race department download page in the video description. As always, if you enjoy the car, make sure you give it a rating and a little review over on RD to help support the creator. So that just about brings us to the end of today's video. There won't be a video going live tomorrow as I'm having to go and do some real world work for a change, but I'll be back on Friday with the second instalment of Sim Racing Explained Quick. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, it would be great if you could hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you can see more content like this in the future. So all that's left to say is goodbye, thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.